Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Lawback. I want to take a moment and go over the Period 8 overview assignment. So, Period 8, of course, is from 1945, the end of World War II, to when Ronald Reagan is elected in 1980. This is an important period of history, but this assignment is an overview of the entire period and doesn't go into too much detail, but goes over many of the main key terms and the key ideas. So, this assignment is in three parts. This assignment should be word processed and submitted to turn it in on the due date. So let's talk about part one. For part one, you are going to watch this video, which is a Mr. Lawback overview video of period 8. You can find it by clicking here. Now in the video, I go over a Google slide with some images, and on each one of the slides, there are bolded terms, and they should be considered key terms. So in your notes, you should define each one of those key terms. Now, after you watch the video, you can go to this link here, which is actually the Google Slides from the video. And then this video I added here because much of what is covered in period 8 is also in this video that I made. This is about the earlier part of the Cold War. So for part one, you are defining the key terms in my lecture video. Now for part two, this is also from my lecture video. At the end, I go over 7 big takeaways or themes from period 8. So for each one of those themes, you should identify 2 specific examples. So here I am on the slides from the video, which is attached as a link. I numbered each one of the big takeaways. You can see that's somewhat of a key concept. And then you are simply going to provide 2 pieces of evidence. You don't have to explain the evidence, but 2 key terms for each big takeaway. And there are a total of 7 key takeaways. And on the Google slide, these are the last 3 slides. So that's part 2. Now, part 3, you are going to go to this timeline, which is from the first part of period 8. For each one of the items on the timeline, you are going to provide a brief explanation in your own words. So let's take a look at the timeline here. It actually starts before period 8 with the GI Bill being passed. And then as you can see, for each year, there are 1 or a couple of items which are listed. And then the second page starts a little lower, so you have to scroll down. And this timeline ends with the important year of 1964, which is about halfway through period 8. We will get to the second part of the period 8 timeline later. So for each one of these events, you should provide a very brief description or explanation. So once again, and very quickly, this assignment is going to be in 3 parts. In part 1, you are going to watch the Mr. Lawback lecture video on period 8, an overview. And in your notes, you are going to identify each of the bolded terms. In part 2, you are going to take the 7 big takeaways or themes at the end of the video, and you are going to provide 2 specific pieces of evidence for each theme. You do not have to explain the pieces of evidence. For part 3, you are going to take the period 8 timeline and quickly identify each one of the items listed on the timeline in chronological order. So again, the goal of this assignment is for you to get an understanding of the overview and the main ideas and key terms from period 8. I hope this information helps. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a great rest of the day.